All right, folks, I'm here in Ottawa. We're speaking with Tyler. Tyler has come in from Ottawa and has been a great resource for information. So I'm going to turn it over to him, ask him a couple questions, and give you a taste of what's actually going on here in Ottawa. Dude, thank you for being here. I've been looking at your updates. They're very clear, very concise. You were just walking across the bridge, kind of verifying information that you had. So I love that you're like literally, you just go out and get it. So maybe start with who you are, why you've come here, and more broadly, if people don't know what's actually happening in Ottawa, why are people here, and what is the objective?
Okay, well, hi everybody. My name is Tyler. I'm a farmer from eastern Alberta. I've traveled 3,700 kilometers to be here. I left a wife and child at home on the farm to be here with everyone. I'm not a reporter or journalist or anything. I just had a platform to speak from, and I guess I'm somewhat good at speaking, so that's why I've started doing what I'm doing. So what's happening here in Ottawa is a good portion of the country. It started with the truckers and it followed down to farmers and working class blue collar people who are upset with our government overreach. Most generally with the COVID related rules, we feel that the government has handled that very poorly. There are some other things to go along with it, but generally speaking, what we're trying to do is bring to the attention of the government just how many people are unhappy with what they're doing and how they're handling things. And so we've put our livelihoods aside, our lives aside, to come down here to make noise, to harass that Parliament building, to say, look, pay attention to the people. We're not happy with what you're doing. You need to change your path and do what we're asking you to do, because the laws that are coming down, the slippery slope are falling down. Things aren't super bad yet, but we're on the path, and governments never give back freedoms once they've taken them. And so yes, some people say well, what freedoms have you lost? Well, some people haven't lost a lot yet. Some people have lost their livelihoods, they've lost their careers, they've lost their reputations, and it's a slippery slope that's only going to get worse if we don't correct it. So that's why a good portion of us have done what we've done. We put things aside, we've left our lives, our families and stuff, and we have come out here to start a movement, and a righteous, peaceful movement. This is not one of violence and trying to incite hatred. This is trying to unify the country, bring Albertans and Quebecers together, bring Ontarians, the Eastern Canada, Western Canada together to stand up to our government. We're trying to reunite Canada, make us into what Canadians used to be, where we're all happy, we're celebrating, we're helping each other, we're enjoying the freedoms that come with being in this great nation. So that is what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish here. Unfortunately, there's a bit of collateral damage. We've got trucks with train horns and air horns. We're making a large presence. We're causing traffic congestion. We're making life difficult for some of the locals, which is really unfortunate. That's not what we're trying to do. We're trying to harass that building, and unfortunately the building's in the middle of a city that has people in it. So unfortunately we're causing difficulties for them, but we're not trying to do that.
Well, I think it's almost, we need to put a pin in that, because there is a way to end this, and it's essentially honor the Canadian Charter of Rights and Freedom. So when people get annoyed at truck horns, they need to be able to aim that annoyance at the people who are actually creating it, right? The people who are bringing people here and essentially forcing us to try and be louder and louder until we're heard, and we're not being heard. So it's, I think it's important that people know the truckers aren't the problem.
Absolutely. The
truckers are fighting for everyone's freedoms, and so we have to make sure that that's clear. And if you were to state a very clear objective, what is the objective? When do people go? What needs to happen for this to end, for people to go home?
We need the government to admit that they were wrong, that they have overstepped the boundaries of what they should be allowed to do, to recall the COVID mandates, the vaxports, the requirements for vaccination for work and those kind of things, to give people the freedom of choice. Do you want to get vaccinated? Go get vaccinated. Do you want to wear a mask? Wear a mask. Do you want to stay home and isolate? Stay home and isolate. It has been proven that, I don't want to get too political here, but it's been proven that this COVID thing is not nearly as serious as it was ever thought to be, and I need the government to admit that they were wrong. That's the biggest thing. Once they started, they have to keep the narrative up. They got to follow the lies of lies. Admit that they were wrong and change the path, roll back the restrictions, and let's go back to where we were a couple years ago. We can focus on the real problems again. That's what needs to happen. Then the government needs to admit that they lied, admit that they were wrong, change the path.
Perfect. And then if you have, right now this camera represents the world. If the world is watching, what would you say to the world to inspire everyone to use this as sort of momentum to get their own movements going? Because I think it has to happen everywhere. It has to happen on an individual level. This momentum is incredible. It's crazy to see this on the ground. I don't think people actually understand how significant this is. If the world is watching, what do you want to tell them?
I want to tell the world that Canada is a huge country. We've had people who've traveled 6,000 kilometers to be here to stand up for themselves. The people in smaller countries, you the individual, are so important. One person is insignificant, but the people who get together and stand up peacefully to their governments make a big statement. Look at what we're doing here. When you piss off Canadians, you've got a big problem. The world needs to follow suit, follow our lead, be peaceful in telling your government what you want to have happen. You just need to stand up and do something, and it does not have to be destructive.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tyler.